better known by his pen name George Orwell. Eric Arthur Blair was an English writer and political essayist whose work left an indelible mark on literature and political thought. Born on June 25, 1903, in British India, he passed away on January 21, 1950, in London. His writing is characterized by a passionate clarity, a sharp awareness of social injustices, and a fierce opposition to totalitarianism, especially Stalinism, which he brilliantly satirized in his novella Animal Farm, 1945. Orwell is most famous for the dystopian novel 1984, 1949, and the aforementioned Animal Farm. These two works achieved unprecedented commercial success, outselling any other author of the 20th century. Beyond fiction, he was a prolific author of reviews, articles, and essays, with Homage to Catalonia, 1938, an acclaimed account of his time in the Spanish Civil War standing out. To this day, Orwell's influence on culture and politics remains alive and relevant.
Whoever controls the present controls the past, and whoever controls the past controls the future.
Freedom of the press, if it means anything at all, means the freedom to criticize and oppose.
Inequality was the price of civilization.
Advertising is the rattling of a stick inside a swill bucket.
Part of the reason for the ugliness of adults in a child's eyes is that the child is usually looking upwards, and few faces are at their best when seen from below.
In Newspeak, there is no word for science. The empirical method of thought on which all the scientific achievements of the past were founded is opposed to the most fundamental principles of Incisive.
Freedom is the right to tell people what they do not want to hear.
It is the same in all wars. The soldiers do the fighting, the journalists do the shouting, and no true patriot ever gets near a front-line trench except on the briefest of propaganda tours.
Records told the same tale. Then the lie passed into history and became truth.
Even through the shut window pane, the world looked cold.
He was the tormentor, he was the protector, he was the inquisitor, he was the friend.
In all the useful arts, the world is either standing still or going backwards.
Outright, the working classes are in their materialism.
Looking at the world as a whole, the drift for many decades has been not towards anarchy, but towards the reimposition of slavery. We may be heading not for general breakdown, but for an epoch as horribly stable as the slave empires of antiquity.
The horrible thing about the 2 minutes hate was not that one was obliged to act a part, but that it was impossible to avoid joining in.
But the thing that I saw in her face, no power to disinherit. No bomb that ever burst shatters the crystal spear.
The clever thing was to break the rules and stay alive all the same.
I sometimes think that the price of liberty is not so much eternal vigilance as eternal dirt.
But if thought corrupts language, language can also corrupt thought.
To walk through the ruined cities of Germany is to feel an actual doubt about the continuity of civilization.
In a time of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act.
In our time, political speech and writing are largely the defense of the indefensible.
What is to be expected of them is not treachery or facile cowardice, but stupidity, unconscious sabotage, an infallible instinct for doing the wrong thing.
One has to belong to the intelligentsia to believe things like that. No ordinary man could be such a fool.
Language ought to be the joint creation of poets and manual workers.
One's got to change the system, or one changes nothing.
His answer to every problem, every setback was, "I will work harder."
Whoever tries to imagine perfection simply reveals his own emptiness.
The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command.
You had to live from habit that became instinct, in the assumption that every sound you made was overheard, and except in darkness, every moment scrutinized.
The urge to shout filthy words at the top of his voice was as strong as ever.
From the totalitarian point of view, history is something to be created rather than learned.
You must try harder. It is not easy to become sane.
If you turn the other cheek, you will get a harder blow on it than you got on the first one. This does not always happen, but it is to be expected, and you ought not to complain if it does happen.
Orthodoxy is unconsciousness.
A socialist United States of Europe seems to me the only worthwhile political objective today.
Truth becomes untruth if uttered by your enemy.
He gazed up at the enormous face. 40 years it had taken him to learn what kind of smile was hidden beneath the dark mustache. Oh cruel, needless misunderstanding. Oh stubborn, self-willed exile from the loving breasts. 2 gin-scented tears trickled down the sides of his nose. But it was all right. Everything was all right. The struggle was finished. He had won the victory over himself. He loved Big Brother.
Whatever goes upon 2 legs is an enemy. Whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend.
Other words used in variable meanings, in most cases more or less dishonestly, are class, totalitarian, science, progressive, reactionary, bourgeois, equality. Now,
patriotism is usually stronger than class hatred, and always stronger than internationalism.
If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
If you want a vision of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever.
Patriotism is usually stronger when the country is losing.
Every life viewed from the inside is a series of defeats.
If you want the picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever.
If you want to keep a secret, you must also hide it from yourself. You must know all the while that it is there. But until it is needed, you must never let it emerge into your consciousness in any shape that can be given a name.
If you want to know who rules over you, look at who you are not allowed to criticize.
Before the war, and especially before the Boer War, it was summer all the year round.
But when war becomes literally continuous, it also ceases to be dangerous. When war is continuous, there is no such thing as military necessity. Technical progress can cease, and the most palpable facts can be denied or disregarded. As we have seen, researches that could be called scientific are still carried out for the purposes of war, but they are essentially a kind of daydreaming, and their failure to show results is not important. Efficiency, even military efficiency, is no longer needed.
all the war propaganda, all the screaming and lies and hatred comes invariably from people who are not fighting.
War is war. The only good human being is a dead one.
But it was all right. Everything was all right. The struggle was finished. He had won the victory over himself. He loved Big Brother.
The end was contained in the beginning.
The past was erased. The erasure was forgotten. The lie became the truth.
If there was hope, it must lie in the proles, because only there, in those swarming disregarded masses, 85% of the population of Oceania, could the force to destroy the party ever be generated.
The paperweight was the room he was in, and the coral was Julia's life and his own, fixed in a sort of eternity at the heart of the crystal.
Always eyes watching you, and the voice enveloping you. Asleep or awake, indoors or outdoors, in the bath or bed, no escape. Nothing was your own except the few cubic centimeters in your skull.
The quickest way of ending a war is to lose it.
This life we live nowadays, it's not life, it's stagnation, death, and life. Look at all these bloody houses, and the meaningless people inside them. Sometimes I think we're all corpses, just rotting upright.
I suppose we may as well say goodbye.
Human beings were behaving as human beings and not as cogs in the capitalist machine.
Today there were fear, hatred, and pain, but no dignity of emotion, no deep or complex sorrows.
To see what is in front of one's nose needs a constant struggle.
Every war when it comes, or before it comes, is represented not as a war, but as an act of self-defense against a homicidal maniac.
I doubt whether classical education ever has been or can be successfully carried out without corporal punishment.
When the white man turns tyrant, it is his own freedom that he destroys.
Most people who bother with the matter at all would admit that the English language is in a bad way, but it is generally assumed that we cannot, by conscious action, do anything about it.
A man who gives a good account of himself is probably lying, since any life when viewed from the inside is simply a series of defeats.
Comrade Ogilvy, who had never existed in the present, now existed in the past, and when once the act of forgery was forgotten, he would exist just as authentically and upon the same evidence as Charlemagne or Julius Caesar.
On the whole, human beings want to be good, but not too good, and not quite all the time.
The revolution will be complete when the language is perfect.
The people will believe what the media tells them they believe. Right thinking will be rewarded, wrong thinking punished.
Always there will be the intoxication of power, constantly increasing and constantly growing subtler. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face, forever.
Apparently nothing will ever teach these people that the other 99% of the population exists.
Now I will tell you the answer to my question. It is this. Party seeks power entirely for its own sake. We are not interested in the good of others. We are interested solely in power, pure power.
Whoever is winning at the moment will always seem to be invincible.
Always yell with the crowd, that's what I say. It's the only way to be safe.
A family with the wrong numbers in control. That perhaps is as near as one can come to describing England in a phrase.
I will work harder.
As I write, highly civilized human beings are flying overhead, trying to kill me.
A scrupulous writer, in every sentence that he writes, will ask himself at least 4 questions. Thus 1. What am I trying to say? 2. What words will express it? 3. What image or idiom will make it clearer? 4. Is this image fresh enough to have an effect?
How could you communicate with the future? It was impossible. Either the future would resemble the present, in which case it would not listen to him, or it would be different from it, and his predicament would be meaningless.
Of pain you could wish only one thing, that it should stop. Nothing in the world was so bad as physical pain. In the face of pain there are no heroes.
However much you deny the truth goes on existing.
What can you do against the lunatic who is more intelligent than yourself, who gives your arguments a fair hearing, and then simply persists in his lunacy?
Surely, comrades, you don't want jumps back.
We make you pay for the water you drink, for the food you eat, for the wars we need, for the crimes we commit. We make you dedicate the most important part of your life to us, but we give you wages and tell you they allow you to buy stuff and pay for your needs to make us richer. We call this freedom.
Nothing was your own except the few cubic centimeters inside your skull.
Never use a metaphor, simile, or other figure of speech that you're used to seeing in print. Never use a long word where a short one will do. If it's possible to cut a word, always cut it. Never use the passive where you can use the active. Never use a foreign phrase, a scientific word, or jargon if you can think of an everyday English equivalent. Break any of these rules before you say something completely barbaric.